Namaste and welcome all to today's event to celebrate International Women's Day. My name is Prashanthi Harathi and I am representing National Federation of Indian American Associations called NFIA as Regional Vice President for Pacific North. Both I and Chandrika Nimagadda have the privilege of presenting this afternoon's program. We can't wait to listen and learn from each one of the wonderful speakers who are attending today's event. We are fortunate to have a great lineup of many very accomplished community volunteers and non-profit organizations. It's my honor to introduce 8 distinguished speakers from Atlanta, San Francisco, Seattle, and New York. Chandrika and I will be presenting 11 amazing non-profit organizations of Greater Portland area and their 14 wonderful community leader nominees. We are excited to have lined up a few cultural programs and couple of wonderful poems to celebrate women and women empowerment. We have an excellent lineup of content for you this afternoon. The schedule is quite tight, but Chandrika and I will do everything we can to keep on course and on time. As this is my first virtual event, please be patient with us and forgive us if we make any mistakes or if we encounter any technical difficulties. Without any delay, let's start this event with traditional lighting of lamp followed by a traditional invocatory dance to Lord Ganesha to remove any obstacles. The invocatory dance is performed by Tanya Harathi, a 7th grader in Stoller Middle School. She has been learning Kuchipudi for many years under the guidance of her mother, Srimati Prashanthi Harathi, and has performed in many fundraisers and places around the globe. This invocatory dance is in Kuchipudi style of Indian classical dance. The item is in Ragam Ragamalika and set to Aditalam.
talang gutaka di gutaka tadi kinatom ditta dimita kita taka talang gutaka di gutaka tadi kinatom ditta dimita kita taka ditta dimita kita taka ta dimita kita taka tadi kinatom tadi kinatom tadi jam tadi kinatom tejasa kodi suragana dhati tejasa kodi suragana dhati vande shiva gauri gajanana vande shiva gauri gajanana vande shiva gauri gajanana vande shiva gauri gajanana तांडवंदे करी गजानन तांडवंदे करी गजानन तांडवंदे करी गजानन तांडवंदे करी गजानन तांडवंदे करी तांडवंदे करी
Chandrika, over to you.
Thank you, Prashanti. Thank you, Tanya, for that wonderful performance. A very, very, very happy International Women's Day. I am very, very humbled and privileged to be here in the midst of all the wonderful women here. It gives me great pleasure to bring all of these wonderful women together and have a great lineup of speakers that we would love, that have inspired us and continue to inspire us. And I am very, very happy that we have all of our community leaders here bringing together all of the women that have been an inspiration to all of us. Thank you. And congratulations to Prashanti on being the RVP for NFIA. And I would like for her to introduce NFIA to all of us.
Thank you, Chandrika. I would like to invite our NFIA President, Ajay Dubeji, to say a few words about NFIA. Mr. President, over to you. Ajayda, you need to unmute. Mr. President, you need to unmute. Unmute. Mr. President, unmute.
Yeah,
yes.
I did.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I already am unmute. Okay. I first of all, I hope all Portland, Greater Portland people are doing okay in this afternoon. And I'm very obliged to you people that you have given me a chance to talk in front of you. And it's great pleasure our RBP doing this great show in Portland. And a little bit about NFIA. NFIA is like a umbrella organization of US. It started in 1941. And we have got people from all over US. The members are from every state. And by default, if you are not member, still you are member of NFIA. NFIA does like a bridge between India and US, made a good relation with India and US. All the time, that's what we see. Then we see like Indo-American here in US, if they have got some problem, something, we work for that. If something about, let me tell you about the nuclear deal when it's passed through. All NFI people went to the street everywhere, not I'm talking about LA, Chicago, everywhere they went and got the signature from the public to support that. And we went to the Congress people to our local Congress to support that. So that's why I think we got that. I know India government also did good job to get it done. We, NFI, we like to invite all organization here to join our NFIA. Make NFIs very strong. Your Portland don't have any member. First member is our Prashanti ji. Before that, we never had any member. So I like all the organization to join us in future. If you want, I can send. If you send me the address or email, I'll send you the application form to fill out to become a member. And it is the exchange of the different association in US. Like you are here in Portland, you can talk to a FIA person in LA or New York or Chicago or Atlanta. That's why you can make a bridge among all the association. And whatever you do, maybe you can invite all people to your program. We can enjoy that and make a very good bonding. Like today, tomorrow is the International Women's Day, which is March 4th, is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating women's equality. And women and men should enjoy the same right, resources, opportunity, protection. They should treat exactly alike. There's a Bengali poetry. I maybe two lines I'm going to say. This is written before, I think, my birth. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe at least plus 50 years old. সৌম্যের গান গাই আমরা সৌম্যের গান গাই পুরুষ নারী কোনো ভেদাভেদ নাই. That's English says, I do not see any difference between man and woman. Whatever great or beloved achievements that are in the world, half of that was done by woman, half that was done by man, another half. We should celebrate women's achievement, raise awareness against bias, take action for equality. I learned by my best woman was my mother, then my wife, then my daughter. So now my mother used to rule me, my wife used to rule me, now my daughter rules me. Tell me what to do or not. So all women, this is the women's time, and I see most of the leaders now in India, we have got like Jhansi Ka Rani, then Matangari Hajra, Indira Gandhi, here, Nancy Pelosi, and what do you call our new Vice President, Kamala Harris. So now it's coming out. I want you people to also become like that. And there's no difference between man and woman. So let us start our program and enjoy the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President Ajay Dubeji. As NFI's Regional Vice President for Pacific North, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce NFIA to our Greater Portland community and also introduce our non-profit communities to NFIA leaders. I am hoping to be the bridge between our amazing communities. Having backing of an organization like NFIA would give our communities in Pacific North strength when support is needed. Let's stand together and build a strong and resilient Indian American society. Thank you. I would like to hand over now to Chandrika.
Thank you, Ajay Dubeji, for the wonderful words. Thank you, Prashanti. Let's start off the program. Due to the long restriction on the time, I'm going to keep my introductions very small, short, even though I would love to talk about all of the women. Our first nominees that we are presenting from our nonprofit organizations here are Jayashree and Kala Kumar. Jayashree Kala Kumar has got multiple nominations from our community. Both Jayashree and Kala Kumar have been pillars of this Portland community, always there for all of us from the Portland community, helping us and encouraging us. They both are very inspiring, and I am very inspired by them, Jayashree and Kala Kumar.
Hi, my name is Jayashree Vardhana, and I would now like to introduce Kala Kumar, who has been a pillar in our community for decades, whether that's through cultural events, service to others, or thought leadership. In the last few years, she has taken on the enormous effort of supporting the SOS shelter for women. She is a champion for the individuals who find shelter in that shelter, working hard to provide meals and resources during tough times. What's additionally been inspiring is that she has pulled in other women from the community to be part of this initiative, Women Helping Women. Over to Kala Kumar.
Thank you, Jayashree, for recognizing my work and my efforts to help the homeless community in Portland and our organization, the freshkitchen.org. I'm a longtime resident of Portland, and from time to time, I have been involved with several community projects. For the last couple of years, I've been focused on a project that provides meals to the shelters of downtown Portland, which are part of the transition projects. The Portland Transition Projects is a large, non-profit public assistance network which has delivered life-saving and life-changing assistance to Portland's at-risk residents by providing shelter, food, and resources for individuals. This helps them to get out of the system and build good lives. I would like to take a couple of minutes to give a background on how I got involved in this work. A few years ago, when I visited my daughter in Long Beach, California, she introduced me to a church where she volunteered occasionally. This church opens its doors to the homeless population on weekends and served meals prepared with the help of volunteers like my daughter. After helping out a few times, I was inspired to do similar work in Portland. So a friend, Arunima Menon, introduced me to the transition projects. I attended an orientation for volunteers and decided to become a meal provider. I started by partnering with one shelter in the transition projects network named SOS, which means Safety of the Streets. This shelter houses women who face domestic violence. I initially started with creating menus and with my husband's help cooked meals for about 70 residents of the SOS shelter. More friends decided to help me out, and within 2 years, our group, the Fresh Kitchen, has grown to have 75 volunteers. Thanks to the overwhelming support from the members of our group, we are now serving all 6 transition project shelters, and in 2020 alone provided more than 2,500 meals. We started with soups and sandwiches, but have now expanded to include Indian, Italian, and Mexican entrees. Prior to COVID, I would buy the ingredients and volunteers would come to my home to cook together. These volunteers included parents, grandparents, and young adults. A few of them helped to deliver the meals in person to all the shelters. During the COVID pandemic, we continued to provide meals to the shelters. We started to cook separately in our homes under strict food handling guidelines. We also partnered with Domino's and other restaurants to provide additional meals. The friends in our community rose to the challenge of this difficult time and continue to sponsor and cook many meals a month despite the logistical difficulties. I want to acknowledge that this work is not just done by me, but now by 25 families who all contribute every week and volunteer to deliver, cook, and sponsor meals. I'm grateful to be part of such a generous community and would like to shine a light on their selfless work. We now have a website, thefreshkitchen.org, where people can sign up to volunteer, to cook, deliver, and sponsor meals. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to showcase our charity work.
Our first guest speaker this afternoon is Rayan Kramer, the current co-chair of LDS, a Jewish dialogue group. She is also the past chair and founder of Sisters Dialogue Group. She has worked for years in interfaith relations. She is on the executive committee of Regional American Jewish Committee, AJC. She will be talking about hidden prejudice one may encounter in mixed ethnic groups. Rayan, over to you. Rayan.
Okay, I've unmuted it. I just wanted to say that LDS stands for Latter-day Saints, and my dialogue group with them is a Jewish Mormon, although they call themselves Latter-day Saints now, group. So I just wanted to clear that up. And thank you for your lovely introduction. My topic is being Jewish in a Christian world. But before I go into that, let me go back in my past because I think it relates to what's going on now, although everything changes with times. In the 1950s, my grandparents had come here in the early 1900s to spend some time and work. My grandfather was a moil, that's a religious man who circumcises little boys in the Jewish world. And also he killed cattle and chickens the kosher way. Now this was important because we actually lived with them for about 9 months. And during that time, I learned the ways of Orthodox Jews. We were Reformed. And so when we moved and had to look for a house, we ran into prejudice immediately. For instance, the rules were no Jews or dogs allowed in certain neighborhoods. Now, that didn't make us feel real good, but it didn't really thwart us either. We bought a lovely house. I went to a wonderful high school, but there were more rules. For instance, Jews were not allowed in Christian sororities, fraternities, clubs. And so that was something that we had to live with, but it really didn't bother me because I had my own clubs and sororities and it was fine. Now, here we are many years later, we have a whole different set of rules. For instance, now Christians want to marry us. We should be really flattered. There is so much intermarriage that it's hard to keep up with it. I think it's like more than half now. Also, we witnessed the Jews will not replace us screaming mobs in Charlottesville. That was a very unpleasant thing because that can lead to violence. The storming of the Capitol, people were wearing swastikas. They were wearing T-shirts that said Camp Auschwitz. And that did lead to violence. There were people killed. So I would say that I may not have cared when I was young, but I definitely care now. I find it very scary. There is overt anti-Semitism in dorms, in colleges. Student leaders have been forced to drop their positions. There are just a lot of bad things going on. I would like to read a couple of things for you from a book that the American Jewish Committee puts out called Translating Hate. And what's interesting about this is everyday things are talked about, and then we understand why they are really uncomfortable. Okay, let's start with Holocaust denial. It's pretty hard to deny the Holocaust because it was so well regulated by the Nazis. but it is an attempt to negate the facts of Nazi genocide of the Jewish people, a belief that the Holocaust did not happen or was greatly exaggerated. Well, why is that anti-Semitic? Well, despite endless historical facts, Holocaust denial and distortion spread the false idea that Jews invented or exaggerated the Holocaust, including the Diary of Anne Frank, Nazism, intent to massacre Jews and use the gas chambers in concentration camps, and the murder of millions of Jews. The Holocaust may be among the most documented events because the Germans did document it, and yet the deniers still make these assertions. And even when anti-Semites don't deny the Holocaust, they have used it to attack Jews by comparing the horrors of the Nazi regime to the defensive actions taken by the State of Israel, claiming that the State of Israel, home to the largest number of living Holocaust survivors, behaves like Nazis in its treatment of the Palestinians, is a personal attack on the survivors. That's not even up for grabs because it is so well documented. But there are other things that people talk about. For instance, the comments "Jew down" as a verb. That's an anti-Semitic term for haggling or bargaining for a cheaper price. Why is it anti-Semitic? Rooted in the false stereotypes that Jews are cheap or stingy, or the phrase "Jew down" may seem to be a harmless expression that's used in everyday vernacular. However, it is an insulting and anti-Semitic misrepresentation of Jewish behavior that plays into the trope of Jews as greedy money handlers who are unwilling to part with their earnings. Now, the average Christian doesn't believe those things. In fact, they're horrified by it too. But there is this growing number all over the world of people who do believe in those things. There are cartoons drawn, pictures of politicians like John Ossoff. They made enlarged his nose. They made him look sinister. These things seem harmless, but they aren't harmless. There are too many people that are attacked on the streets because they're wearing a kippah and things like that. So I think every small group, and the Jewish group is small, but the Indian group in this country is also small, faces discrimination or anti-something. They are looked upon as not like everybody else. And that is a problem. And that's why multiculturalism and pluralism are so important for all of us to learn. Anyway, thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate being here.
Thank you so much, Ryan. That is really a very inspirational speech. We are so thankful to you for coming to our event and giving us a beautiful speech and letting us know many things. It's really truly very inspirational.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next we have Sudeshna Ganguly presenting a beautiful poem on Janaki Mata.
A very happy Women's Day to all the lovely ladies in here. I am Sudeshna Ganguly and I shall be presenting a poem on Janaki or Sita Mata, a composition of Aman Aksharji. Sita or Janaki Mata can be or is rather a role model for every woman of every age and every era. Not only was she a perfect daughter, daughter-in-law, wife and a mother, but also a perfect woman. She held her ground. Never for a minute, for a day did she sacrifice her self-respect. Presenting Janaki. जो है इस कथा के प्राण, उनका प्राण जानकी, राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी. पुण्य एक था मगर थे पुण्य की घड़े अलग, युद्ध एक मगर दोनों ही लड़े अलग। जो न था किसी के राम, राम थे खरे अलग, जानकी के राम, राम से भी थे बड़े अलग। इस कथा से है बड़ा अलग विधान जानकी, राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी। धर्म की कथा को जिसने मर्म एक नया दिया, अपने साथ राम को भी राम में रमा दिया। धर्म की कथा को जिसने मर्म एक नया दिया, अपने साथ राम को भी राम में रमा दिया। जानकी ने इसको अर्थ धर्म से बड़ा किया, जानकी ने इसको अर्थ धर्म से बड़ा किया, राम की कथा को प्रेम की कथा बना दिया। भावना से है अधिक अर्थवान जानकी, राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी। राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी। इसमें क्या नया है, लाख तर्क जो बुने गए, तुमको लग रहे हैं सिर्फ राम ही सुने गए। एक सरल सी बात जिसके अर्थ अनसुने गए, जानकी ने हाँ कहा तो राम जी भी चुने गए। शब्द शब्द, अर्थ अर्थ, स्वाभिमान जानकी, राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी। प्रीत की एक नया ही रूप गर रही थी जानकी, पीछे पीछे चल के आगे बढ़ रही थी जानकी। जैसे मंदिर की सीढ़ी चढ़ रही थी जानकी, राम लिख रहे थे राम, पढ़ रही थी जानकी। राम जिसके हो गए सहज सुजान जानकी, राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी। जो है इस कथा के प्राण, उनके प्राण जानकी, राम एक सत्य जिसका है प्रमाण जानकी। नमस्कार।
Our next guest speaker is Dr. Sandra McQueen, an instructor and supervisor at Georgia State University. She has been involved with the international community for much of her career. Most recently, Dr. McQueen has worked at Georgia State University with their diverse student body, has served as president of the Georgia chapter of the Fulbright Association, and as a member of the advisory board for Atlanta Ministry with international students. She will talk about the importance of students knowing and understanding others. Dr. McQueen, over to you.
Welcome. I don't know if you can see me or not, but I'm bringing you greetings from Georgia and from the Georgia chapter of the Fulbright Association. In 1946, in the aftermath of World War II, Senator William Fulbright proposed a program which would bring together students and scholars in an effort to prevent future conflicts by creating situations which foster mutual understanding between the United States and partner nations as they shared knowledge across communities and collaborated on projects that would improve lives around the world. 30-odd years later, the Fulbright Association, a private nonprofit organization, was founded by the alumni of the Fulbright program. It is one of approximately 65 national Fulbright alumni associations worldwide. Membership is open to former Fulbright grantees as well as those who support the ideals of the Fulbright program but are not grantees themselves. Fulbright presents more than 3,000 awards to students, scholars, teachers, artists, scientists, and professionals from all across the United States each year. These award recipients study, teach, and research in almost 100 different academic and professional fields, and exchange ideas and contribute to finding solutions to shared international concerns in more than 140 countries. In addition to carrying out their proposed projects, Fulbrighters are expected to involve themselves in their host community, sharing their culture while at the same time observing the host culture. After their grant periods, Fulbrighters are encouraged to bring what they have learned through this cultural exchange home and teach others about the cultures they have experienced. They are encouraged to continue the Fulbright experience by reaching out to their home communities, participating in alumni activities, and networking with others. This engagement creates a multiplier effect that leads to lifelong collaboration between communities. In 2019, at least 80 American students, scholars, and professionals went to India as Fulbrighters. In 2020, there were at least 39 Fulbrighters from India who came to the United States to study and research. Due to the pandemic, there were fewer than usual, and some of these may have been doing much of their work remotely. India offers more Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program opportunities than any other country in the world, with more than 70 Fulbright Nehru grants for U.S. scholars, professionals, and international education administrators. From the historical records, 3 Pulitzer Prize winners were Fulbrighters to India. 2 MacArthur Fellows, the award known as the Genius Grant, also studied and taught in India, and 1 Fulbrighter from India, the United States, also received the MacArthur Fellow Award. He was poet, and I'll probably slaughter his name, Adapat Ramayanjan. One of your current officers in India, Dr. Simi Metu, a 2015-16 Fulbright Nehru doctoral research scholar at Ohio State University, is the current CEO and editorial director of the Impact and Policy Research Institute in Delhi. All of these are opportunities that people have had to come and know another part of the world. Where I worked at Georgia State, we really worked on making sure all of our students had a chance to go somewhere else, to learn what it was like to be somewhere else, to be the other. I think it's very important that people understand that everybody is different and you need to learn about their culture and how to relate to it. For those of you who would like to expand your knowledge and study, teach, or research elsewhere, consider applying for a Fulbright grant. You will learn more about another culture and probably learn even more about yourself and how to relate in a cooperative way to solve complex problems. And there is no age limit for applying and potentially receiving a Fulbright grant. So don't say, I'm too old. You can still do it. And you can do research, just go to Fulbright.org or the State Department, the federal State Department, and look up Fulbright for all the regulations. And if you have relatives in India, they need to go to the Fulbright website for India because the rules are different in each country, but you can get a Fulbright in India and come here to study. I hope to see many more of you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. That was really amazing and wonderful. Thank you so much for participating and giving your time for our event. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. And Chandrika, over to you.
Thank you, Sandra, for that wonderful message on Fulbright Scholarship. I'm tempted now to go and look it up. Thank you again, and I'm sure it'll be inspirational for everybody else. Our next program is from Maitri PDX. It's a nonprofit organization which helps underprivileged people both of South Asia and also in Portland. And here's a powerful message from the youngsters, Gen Z kids, and also from the volunteers of Maitri PDX. Here you go.
To me, Women's Day signifies liberation and independence and equality in a world where male dominance is very prominent, but we still have a voice, we still have a say in this world, and we get equal opportunities just the same as anyone else, and we have the opportunity to rise to the occasion and do our best.
For me, women empowerment means supporting each other and inspiring each other to be the best we can be. The most inspiring woman in my life is my mom. She's been working in a male-dominated industry for over 25 years, and I really admire her strength in every situation. After seeing her work hard every day, I've decided to follow in her footsteps in the same industry where I've had the opportunity to meet even more powerful and inspiring women. They've all inspired me to work hard in everything that I do and always strive to uplift other women too.
To me, women empowerment means like treating everyone with the equal opportunities, no matter who you are. I see women as powerful people who deserve respect and have changed the world. I am blessed to be surrounded with many women in my life. My grandmas, mom, and sister have loved me, cared for me, and taught me so much throughout my life. Happy Women's Day.
What is my vision for women? My vision for women is to redefine the term success. I am not interested in making it to the top in a world in which men have defined the top. I am interested in creating a world in which success is not defined by structures of power and domination.
Hi everyone. For me, women empowerment means supporting women of all backgrounds so that they have the power and the agency to make their own decisions as they navigate their world. I think that we can support women by listening to them, showing them that we care, and that we respect them. Thank you to this platform for bringing awareness to this issue, and I hope everyone has a fantastic Women's Day.
Women's empowerment starts off with education. Educating oneself in our history and the past and how women were treated in our previous society. And learning from that and kind of applying oneself to growth in our current world. And I think the best way is respect and respecting women and treating them with the human respect and dignity that they deserve in our society.
To me, feminism is not just about equal opportunity, it's also about being equally valued and respected. For a long time, we've not been equally valued and respected, and that's why I really appreciate this year's theme for International Women's Day, which reminds us to choose to challenge not only the behaviors and actions of others, but to also challenge our own beliefs and notions about our own value and self-worth. It reminds us to consciously unlearn what we have subconsciously learned about our value and self-worth. I've started this journey, and I can attribute a lot of what I've learned to watching my mom go on her own journey and leading by example. So to her, I say thank you, and to everyone else, happy Women's Day.
I believe that women are empowered when they are enabled to make their own informed decisions about their happiness, well-being, and success in life, and that they're given the same trust and respect in their words and actions as all other genders. There are a great many people, many of whom are women, who have fought for these rights. I vote because of them. I went to school because of them. I can wear pants in public because of them. I hope that the societal and legal barriers for women living the life that they want are removed in my lifetime. My mom is one of these people who encourages me not just to empower myself, but to empower my fellow women. She is a female person of color who has a husband and a daughter and friends, and she has a very successful career at a company where she mentors other women to do the same. And that is mind-blowing to me. And I hope that someday that this is the new normal for the people who choose it, and that it is celebrated by everybody. Happy Women's Day, everyone.
I want to apologize to all women I have called pretty before I have called them brave or intelligent. I'm sorry I made it sound as though something as simple that you're born with is the most you have to be proud of when your spirit has crushed mountains. From now on, I will say things like, you are resilient or you're extraordinary, not because I don't think you're pretty, but because I think you are so much more than that. Rupi Kaur.
As women, we consciously choose to see the love, affection, and care in others, and these naturally emanate from within us. I'm Shravani.
Hi, this is me too. I see woman as a symbol of courage and resilience.
Hi, I am Dibangana, your Mitra. Woman signifies wisdom and sacrifice.
Hello, this is Ajanta, your Mitra. Woman means to me being pragmatic and compassionate.
Hello, I'm Shama, your Mitra. Women signifies affection and kindness.
Hi, I'm Chaitali, your Mitra. For me, woman means harmony and stability.
Hi, this is Konika, your Mitra.
Women to me is pillar of responsibility and voice of inspiration. Happy Women's Day.
Namaskar, I'm Dipanita, your Mitra. A woman embodies feminine strength through softness.
I'm Tanya, your Mitra. Woman signifies compassion and empathy. And here in my PDX, 9 beautiful women with wonderful hearts have come together to serve underprivileged women and children in the Indian subcontinent and here in USA. Thank you all for your support and for this platform. We wish each one of you a happy International Women's Day from my PDX. Thank you.
Thank you for that very powerful video, Maitri PDX. And now from one powerful organization to another organization, REAL. REAL is another nonprofit organization in Portland, and it has student teenagers working, raising funds or having events and raising awareness about different things, both for India and for here. And their nominee is Himakshi Adke, who's a great friend of mine, and it is amazing to see her work throughout the years. Here's REAL video and Himakshi Adke.
Hi everyone, my name is Gitanjali Krishna and I'm a board advisor and volunteer for a very special organization called Real Youth to Youth. This Portland-based unique non-profit provides the local high schoolers a unique opportunity to support and connect with the underprivileged students of remote and rural India. On the occasion of International Women's Day this year, I am very privileged to honor and celebrate the founder and anchor of REAL, Himakshi Adke. Himakshi has provided a large influence on the lives of many local youth in the 20 years of running REAL. She has instilled in them values of compassion, service, and giving back. And my 2 daughters have had the privilege of this support from her, and we are extremely thankful to her for this. In addition to heading REAL, Himakshi is a healthcare management professional, mother to 2 very accomplished young ladies, garden enthusiast, and fosters rescued kittens as well. Please join me in celebrating and honoring and thanking Himakshi for all that she has done and the impact she's making on the community. Thank you.
20 years ago, we started a nonprofit organization called Real Youth to Youth. REAL stands for Rural Education and Literacy. And the mission of REAL is to support rural education in India of underprivileged youth. The remarkable thing about REAL is that it is led and run by high school students. We have a set of high school students, and these students have been rotating students over the last 20 years, and they come together for board meetings and to make decisions about the nonprofit organization. In the process of running REAL, the high school students in Portland gain extremely valuable leadership skills. Skills like team building, skills like communication, skills like problem solving. These were skills that I didn't get to develop until maybe I started working way after college. I really wanted to create an organization where high school students could come together and make a difference in the world and solve real problems like illiteracy in India. These really remarkable youth have so many wonderful ideas, and they get to test them out in REAL. They get to make mistakes, they get to succeed in things, sometimes they fail, and these are all real life experiences that they have the opportunity to try out. Since REAL's formation, we've been able to provide over $140,000 in grants to really special programs in India that that give opportunities to students to learn how to read, write, have computer literacy skills, gain vocational training skills that really have an impact on their livelihood and their future. What's been really rewarding for me is to watch our high school students here grow with confidence and gain amazing skills over their 4 years with REAL. Once they graduate and go on, we've planted a very small seed, and they carry all of the experiences and skills with them. And they participate with confidence in their college communities and their communities, their local communities that they might settle in. They go on to continue providing community service and really, really making a difference in this world.
Thank you, Real Youth to Youth organization and Hemakshi Adge for your beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. Our next guest is our guest of honor, Sumati Rao. Sumati Rao has spent more than 20 years in government service with varied experience in different aspects of public service. She was posted in Embassy of India, Kathmandu from 2011 to 2015 and provided assistance to Indian nationals in distress during the 2015 earthquake in Nepal, in which more than 8,000 people lost their lives. She has been posted in the Consulate General of India, San Francisco, since 2018 and has been looking after visa, culture, information and community affairs. She will be speaking about women empowerment. Sumati Rao, over to you.
Namaskar and warm greetings to all of you. I am Sumati Rao, Consul looking after community affairs, information, culture and visa in the Indian Consulate in San Francisco. I would like to thank NFIA for inviting me to give this little talk on the eve of the International Day for Women. Women in India have traditionally enjoyed a very important status, whether it was in the olden times when women were referred to as Ardhangini, literally meaning the half of a man or a human being, to where they stand today. India has one of the highest number of female politicians. There is no position that a woman has not held in India, whether it is the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, or the Leader of the Opposition. Every position has been held by a woman. In fact, India was amongst the first countries to give women equal voting rights. In fact, this right has been given to Indian women even before this was given to a lot of women in what is known as more developed countries around the world. There is an increasing participation of women now in the Indian armed forces. In fact, the Supreme Court has ruled that Indian women can even hold command positions in the Indian Army. The Government of India continues to be one of the model employers as far as females are concerned. There is no discrimination as far as salaries are concerned between the male and the female employees in the government sector. Even in the business field, we find that women have traditionally also been doing well. We would recall the example of the Lijjat Papad case, which was started by 7 women with a seed money of only 80 rupees and has now grown into this massive empire of about 800 crores and employs more than 43,000 women in this space. Similarly, Amul, or the dairy sector, is another area in which women play a more important role. I'm trying to bring out all these examples just to show that contrary to what we believe, women in India have been engaged in the employment sector traditionally for a very long time. However, the general belief is that women in India do not enjoy the same status as their counterparts elsewhere in the world. That is not true. I think most of you would also recall that in the space sector as well, there have been women scientists working shoulder to shoulder with their male counterparts. The Government of India remains committed to increasing the participation of women in the workforce. They've come out with a comprehensive plan to ensure that women's participation in the workforce is at least 30% in the next 5 years. On a more personal front, I would like to say that women themselves need to empower themselves, to step out into the world, to ensure that they find a voice, that they are heard, whether it is in the family to tell their parents that they'd like to study, or pursuing careers or choices of their own. I have a daughter and I often tell her that if she wants something in the world, she has to step out to get it. Everyone works hard, and anybody who's willing to put in that effort will succeed. I do not think that success is gender specific. There is a general tendency for women to not step forward to roles that are more challenging. But I urge all of you, there is nothing that holds you back except your own inhibitions. So empower yourself, study hard, work hard, and the world will be your oyster. I am in no way trying to say that there will not be struggles in the way, that there are not challenges along, but do not think that you are not in a position to meet those challenges. You have it in you, you have the ability, you can do it. I would like to remind everyone that even Lord Hanuman did not remember his own powers, and it was only when Jambavant reminded him that he was able to scale insurmountable obstacles to reach Sita. So I would like to tell all the women, believe in yourself and you will be able to reach new heights. In the end, I would also like to use this medium to tell all the people participating in this event about the work being done by the consulate during this pandemic. We have continued to remain open. We've been giving services, whether it is passport, visa, OCI, renunciation, and other miscellaneous services.
Thank you, Sumati Rauji, for your wonderful words about women. It is such a privilege to have you as a guest of honor for our event. Thank you so very much. Next, we have a beautiful Kuchipudi classical dance on Devi Stuti. This dance shows the power of women by depicting goddess Durga slaying the demon Mahishasura. This dance is presented by Srimati Prashanti Harati and Tanya Harati.
Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yashodehi Dvisho Jagi Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yashodehi Dvisho Jagi Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yashodehi Dvisho Jagi Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yashodehi Dvisho Jagi
Da kuda ta kuda 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 da kuda tam takta dim takta da kuda tam takta dim takta da kuda tam takta dim takta da kuda tam takta dim takta
Shivaruda Mahabhivam Goranam Shantasandhi Chaturpujam Katkavundavara Bhayakara देवीं जलचिक्मापिकाम्बरा देवं सञ्चिन्तये काली स्वदाता देवासिनी स्वदाता देवासिनी नित्यानन्दकरी पराभयकरी सौन्दर्य रत्नाकरी प्रत्यक्ष माहेश्वरी याचन महोष पावन करे काशी पुराधीश्वरी भिक्षा देहि कृपावलम्बन करे माता अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी
Our next guest speaker is Chris Steiners, founder of Women of Wisdom Foundation in Seattle, Washington. Her book, Women of Wisdom, Empowering the Dream and Spirit of Women, is an award-winning book. She is the radio host of Voices of Women. She will be speaking about the importance of women sharing their stories and raising the feminine consciousness for the healing of our world. Chris, over to you.
Let's see.
Chris.
Thank you. I'm just trying to see the screen of.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm on speaker, but I'm not large. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. We are getting there, Chris.
Okay, thank you. There we are. Well, thank you so much for having me at your International Women's Day event today. It's really an honor to be here. I love seeing the, especially the video of the young women and even young men talking about what it means to be, what they want to see in the world to be a powerful woman, especially on at this time of Women's Day. And thank you to the NFIA for your sponsorship for the 29th Annual Women of Wisdom Conference. Our conference begins this Thursday. It's really coming up. It's online, so anyone can join. We have people from all over the country coming. It's March 11th through the 14th, and you can read about it at our website, womanofwisdom.org. Women of Wisdom's mission is to raise the feminine consciousness and transform our world. Our theme this year at our conference is Celebrating Spirit of Women, United We Are One. And we're so excited to have the guest speakers. Our special guests are Terry Tempest Williams, a well-known author, creative writer, and storyteller, Louisa Tisch. So since 1993, WOW has been providing a unique, intimate setting for women to create lasting change in their lives, which impacts the world. And during the conference, you can experience inspiring talks. We'll have discussion panels on important topics for women, such as recreating community, intergenerational stories, and racial equity. As we we have life-changing, intimate, experiential workshops on creativity, spirituality, body, mind, spirit healing, self-transformation, and so much more in a sacred space that we create for you. At the conference, we have space where people can share your stories, witness and empower each other's dreams, make new friends, and build a nurturing community. And through our personal transformation, we transform the world. This year, we're going to have, very excited being online, we're going to have a community area where women can connect with each other, can have discussion groups, you can create a meetup to talk about a focus of interest. And we're so excited to have this. It's our very first time online. And I'm sure a lot of conferences are online now, and we're usually, it's very powerful to be in person, but I'm very excited we're going to be online and can reach people from all over the country. So my topic today I want to share with you is the importance of women sharing our stories to raise the feminine consciousness for the healing of our world. So why stories? A good story tugs at our heartstrings. It moves us when we hear other people's stories. But we often don't value our own story, or we don't even think we have one. However, we all do. I used to go to a women's camp in British Columbia for 5 years. They had a story night around the campfire, and every year I'd be entranced by their stories, poignant, tearful, funny. And I'd think, I don't have a story like that. And then I'd hear the voice in my head saying, how come you don't have a story? You've traveled around the world. You started Women of Wisdom. What are you so afraid of? So the next year I challenged myself to be courageous, and I told my story. And it did move people. They came up and spoke to me afterwards. And the following year, the organizers asked me to lead the evening with my story. We just don't know how a story will impact everyone. But if you get a nudge in your head, in your mind, your story needs to be shared as someone is waiting to hear it. They're telling you, that little voice in your head, speak up, speak this story. So when I follow that voice now and speak up, invariably someone will tell me, I'm so glad you shared that. I feel that way too, or I've had that experience also, and now I can share my story. And that brings about a healing for them as well. And now I actually think it's selfish of me not to share my story. What impacts me will also impact others. And if my story impacts one person, it's done its job. So what's my story? How WOW was created, which was through really a vision I had after reading the book, Feminine Face of God by Patricia Hopkins and Sherry Anderson. The stories in that book gave me the vision to bring women leaders from diverse spiritual backgrounds to Seattle Unity Church, where I was on the board. And then immediately the voice in my head said, make it a one-week conference to bring women together in community and build community. Now, it didn't just start from reading the book. I had significators along the way, years before, when I created a mission for myself of bringing people together, which I didn't even know what that was going to look like. So I just followed these significators in very feminine yin flow type way, not pushing, trying to figure it out, but I allowed the process to flow until the vision came to me when I read the book. And it was a vision. It just came in, and I felt it and I resonated with it. So then I knew. So another reason for you to share your story, it's vital for women to be visible, particularly for women today. The younger generation needs to see women in front of them, just like it's been powerful this year to witness Kamala Harris become vice president and the young poet Amanda Gorman entrance us with her powerful words. And yes, we witnessed the backlash on them and other women, which is just fear. Where does this fear come from? For women to be in powerful positions, there's nothing to fear, as no one is going to lose power because another person gains power. Power shared will bring about healing in our world, where women stand in equality with men and other women. The women in the past, we've forgotten our power and how it heals and sustains the earth. We have the ability to transform our world, bring in a new era, be leaders in this creation of the new era. We just need to own it. So it's time for something new to be born, and it's up to women to bring that forward. That means bringing our gifts to the forefront, being visible, speaking our minds, supporting each other in our growth and our gifts, and knowing our uniqueness. We all have our unique gifts, and we're here to share them. That's why we're here this time around. This is what raises the feminine consciousness and brings healing to our world. Feminine consciousness, the power of our voice, bringing forward the ideals of what it is powerful in the feminine, bringing the values we have as women out into the world, in business, politics, family, everywhere. Well, what are those values? Inclusivity, all voices matter and need to be heard. Compassion, acting from the heart. Being in process, not solely focused on the outcome and the product. And having the awareness of how what we say and do impacts others. And there's so much more. You can spend all day defining the feminine. So healing happens when you share your story. It releases the shame and the guilt we have carried with us throughout our lives. As women heal, so do our children and the next generation, and that impacts the world. As we see more women heal, courageously speak up, and take on leadership roles, we will see changes in the world. Our own personal healing will impact the collective healing in the areas of our world resources, environment, health, family issues, education, racial equity, and so much more. But think of those powerful stories or powerful women speakers who have moved you, and then reflect within you. What is your story to, what is your story to share? And that doesn't mean it's just success stories, as our younger generation needs to learn from our mistakes too. Then they can see it's available for them. They don't have to be perfect before they can speak what is in their heart and who they are. I just watched the movie, The U.S. versus Billie Holiday. What a powerful story to tell. One we could all watch and learn from. As troubled as her life was, to the end she stood for her song, Strange Fruit, which is now in the Grammy Hall of Fame and in the list of the songs of the century. So I ask you, what is your story to tell, to pass on to the next generation? What story will bring healing to your world? So I'd like you to reflect on that. And I invite you to come explore your story and be witnessed at the WOW conference next weekend. Just go to womenofwisdom.org. And again, thank you for having me today, and for NFIA for sponsoring our conference. And yes, it's been wonderful to listen to the speakers and see the dancing and so many wonderful things that you're putting on today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris, for being a great community champion, and thank you for being a part of our event. Thank you. Next, we have with us Deepa Chetty and Chetna Pandit from Sangeeta Sanjay.
Namaste. I am here representing Sangeeta Sanjay, giving you a high-level picture of this organization supported by like-minded people. Their mission is to unite people through music, dance, cultural activities, and community services. Some of the initiatives taken so far include adopting a trail, providing volunteer opportunities for children and youth, immigration help specifically for the Portland kids on H-4 visa. Few other awareness programs organized by Sangeeta Sanjay are PDX champs, a free Vedic mathematics summer camp, and a COVID-19 awareness webinar. Through an initiative called Family Support 360 Degrees, over 50 volunteers are supporting many families during emergencies and the current pandemic. They are also supporting Vande Bharat mission and helping families to travel. There have been many fundraising efforts to help the underprivileged kids and adults here and in India. Now, one of our active volunteers, Chetana Pandit, is going to elaborate more on the initiatives taken up by Sangeeta Sanjay and also the fundraising efforts and how it has helped the people in need. Before that, Happy Women's Day to all the lovely women who make this world a beautiful place with their nurturing nature and inner strength. More than anything, just by being who they are. Thank you. Over to you, Chetana.
Thank you, Deepa. I'm so proud to be a part of this service-oriented community organization, Sangeeta Sanjay. Like-minded volunteers are the backbone of this organization. The team comes up with various initiatives and volunteers are always there to back it up and support. Deepa has already given a wonderful overview of Sangeeta Sanjay. I just want to say a few things here. Even though Sangeeta Sanjay has started with a music program to educate, to support an educational organization in India called Abhyudaya, it has spread his wings to other areas in the local community. To help the environmental side, the Sangeeta Sanjay team has adopted a trail from THPRD to clean. To recognize and encourage children, Sangeeta Sanjay conducts programs like Vedic math classes, PDX, CHAMP, etc. to help new parents, COVID patients, families in distress. There is a group called Family Support 360. They provide food, being there with the family, basically to give any kind of support that is needed in times of crisis. As you know, everything is done through volunteering here, and there are a lot of women volunteers in this organization. The family support group has 45 women in it. The H4 immigration support, more than 15 women. The trail cleaning group has 8 women, including young girls. There are 7 wonderful singers in Sangeeta Sanjay music team. Approximately, the organization has raised around $8,800 for various causes in the last 2 years. There are more than 75 women volunteers. Women volunteers are there currently, and the number is growing, of course. On this occasion, we would like to thank all our volunteers, including children. Without your support, this wouldn't have happened. We would love to have, and also, you know what, we would love to have more and more of you here. Please come and join us. Anyway, thanks again for all your help and support, and happy Women's Day.
Thank you, Sangeeta Sanjay organization. That was a very beautiful presentation. Thank you. Our next guest speaker is Adrienne Warren. She works with individuals and couples and helps them live a more purposeful and fulfilled life. She has many years of counseling and coaching experience. Adrienne is passionate about healthy relationships with self and others. She is especially inspired to help people heal from past pains and traumas, allowing them to show up as their authentic self. She will be talking about mental health challenges for women during COVID. Adrienne, over to you.
Hey, good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This month is the 1-year anniversary of the pandemic shutdown. Over the course of the past year, we have experienced so much. And over the course of the past year, we've had to shelter in place, wear masks, social distance, resulting in not spending time with family and friends, panicked over there not being enough food, cleaning and sanitation supplies, even toilet paper. Through it all, there was hope things would return to normal. First, it was by summer, then fall. Now it's 2021. A lot of the stress over the past year has not decreased any for women, even though there has been a lot of change. In fact, as things change and the stress of the pandemic decreases, this is when a lot of women are realizing they are struggling emotionally. Now is when they're noticing they are more irritable, have little to no patience, are avoiding things and people, are spending more time alone, sleeping more but not feeling rested, and not experiencing any joy or happiness. You may have one or all of these symptoms. Some of them may just be showing up, and some may have been present for a while, but it wasn't the magnitude that it is today. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, first, take a deep breath. Hear me when I say, it's completely normal. There is nothing wrong with you. These symptoms are telling you you've reached and maybe even surpassed your limit. For the past year, women have been making adjustments to the ways in which they took care of their families, worked their jobs, and provided for their families. Women have found ways to manage simultaneously working from home and teaching their children while continuing their duties of managing the household. Each woman deserves a pat on the back and to be celebrated for making it to this point. The concern is, where do you as a woman go from here? How do you deal with the emotions you've been feeling? Let's start with taking care of yourself. For women, taking care of yourself is a foreign concept. You don't want to be seen as selfish or know there is someone who has it worse off than you. Those thoughts are not helpful with addressing your mental health. Over the past year, you have taken care of everyone and everything else. Now it's time to begin to take care of yourself. Your depression and anxiety is as real as the current pandemic. Let's address how to cope and manage these emotions. Find time when you can do something for you. Make time for you in your routine, whether it is daily, weekly, or even monthly. It doesn't matter. What matters is you're consistent with taking time for you. Here are some ideas of what women can do. Take a bath. Go pick up groceries alone and take your time on the drive to listen to music, an audible book, or even a podcast. Take a nap. Talk to a friend about things. Start counseling, read a book, or watch a movie. The key to you time is it's all about doing something you want. It has nothing to do with making anyone else feel good. You get to decide how much time you want to dedicate to you and the frequency. No, it will feel strange and uncomfortable initially. This doesn't mean you stop. Push through the uncomfortableness to find your sweet spot. The one thing you can do immediately to help with your mental health is to have open and honest conversations about your struggles. Talking honestly about struggles allows us to gain hope for our situations because there is real value in the emotional healing that comes from talking and commiserating with friends. Find a trusted person you can be real with and start sharing. If you don't want to add to the struggles of someone you care about, you can find a counselor or a therapist to listen and support you. You can use a counseling directory like Psychology Today, Open Path Psychotherapy Collective, Therapy Den, or even Clinicians of Color. Social distancing during the pandemic resulted in a lot of us feeling alone and thinking we had to do everything on our own. I hope you now realize you're not in this alone. It's okay to take care of yourself, and that talking about your experiences is vital to improving your mental health. Thank you for having me and allowing me to speak on women's mental health and the coronavirus pandemic.
Thank you, Adrienne. What you have shared is so very useful to each one of us at this difficult times. And thank you again for being a part of our event. Over to you, Chandrika.
Thank you. Our next program is going to be a poem. The person I'm going to introduce is Minnie Jairaj. Minnie is a classical dancer. She's a classical musician, singer, and she's a Portland Aradhana committee member. She is a member of the Surar Saptak team also. And she's been on the Swaram board for 16 years. She's a dear friend of mine. And here she is on behalf of Swaram, presenting a poem.
Srimati Bindu Varma, a member of the Swaram community, will recite the Malayalam poem Ammayude Ezhuthukal.
അമ്മതൻ ചിന്മുദ്രയാണീ എഴുത്തുകൾ തന്മകന്നായി പകർന്ന പാൽമുത്തുകൾ ഇന്നു നാം വീടിന് മോടി കൂട്ടുന്നേരം ഒന്നായി അടുക്കി ഒതുക്കി വയ്ക്കട്ടെ ഞാൻ പട്ടണക്കോപ്പു നിറയ്ക്കയാൽ ഈ ചില്ലുപെട്ടികൾ തിങ്ങി നിന്നിഷ്ടമാണെൻ്റെയും കാൽപ്പെട്ടിയിൽ വെച്ച് താഴിട്ട് പിന്നിലെ ചായ്പിലൊളിച്ചാൽ അറിയില്ല കുട്ടികൾ എത്ര കൗതൂഹലം നോക്കിയാൽ മിണ്ടും ഈ ചിത്രലേഖത്തിൻ്റെ താളുകൾ അമ്മ തൻ വാത്സല്യം ഉത്കണ്ഠ സാരോപദേശങ്ങൾ വേദന പ്രാർത്ഥന നാമസങ്കീർത്തനം നാട്ടുപുരാണങ്ങൾ വീട്ടുവഴക്കുകൾ കൂത്തുത്സവങ്ങൾ വിളപ്പൊലിപ്പാട്ടുകൾ നാവേറുമന്ത്രം നറുക്കിലെ പൂവുകൾ നീർവീഴ്ചയാറ്റാൻ മരുന്നുകുറിപ്പുകൾ നാദമായി വന്ന് എൻ്റെ നാവിലെത്തേനായി നാഭിയിൽ സ്പന്ദിച്ചതീ ഉള്ളെഴുത്തുകൾ നാദമായി വന്ന് എൻ്റെ നാവിലെത്തേനായി നാഭിയിൽ സ്പന്ദിച്ചതീ ഉള്ളെഴുത്തുകൾ ഈ ഉള്ളെഴുത്തുകൾ ഓരോന്നിനോരോ മൊഴിച്ചന്തം അമ്മയാം നേരിൻ്റെ ഈണവും താളവും ഇമ്പവും അമ്മയ്ക്കു മാത്രം തരാൻ കഴിയുന്നതാം വെണ്മയും ഞാനാകുമോർമ്മതൻ ഭൂമിയും ഭദ്രമായി തന്നെ ഇരിക്കട്ടെ ഭദ്രമായി തന്നെ ഇരിക്കട്ടെ കുട്ടികൾ തൊട്ടു വായിച്ചാൽ അശുദ്ധമെന്നോതിനി എന്തു നവീനം ലീനം പ്രിയേ നിന്റെ സുന്ദര ദൃഷ്ടി നിന്നിഷ്ടമാണെൻ്റെയും.
Thank you, Bindu, for that beautiful poem. Ammayude Ezhuthukal, or Mother's Letters, is a poem by the famous Malayalam poet Madhusudanan Nair. It shows a man cleaning up his modern home and discovering old letters his mother had written to him. Browsing through them, he finds a treasure trove of information, traditions, rituals, home remedies, and lessons. The letters here become a symbol of a way of life, of morals, of language and culture on the verge of being lost. And the poem acts as a reminder of all that is lost in the forward rush of time.
Thank you, Minnie and Bindu, for sharing a beautiful poem. Thank you so much.